friends of the Den. Welcome back to Fridays on Men of the Den with me, your host, Eric. I apologize. I always wind up doing this thing where I keep my Wi-Fi signal active while I'm outside trying to film something, and then the signal goes bad and it gets grainy and it's bad. So I'm on my 5G connection and I'll be good. Anyways, this week on Men of the Den, first of all, let me talk about last week, because last week I didn't produce a video, and for that I am extremely sorry. However, I did participate instead in a conversation on a podcast called Sex Intersectional, where I spent about 2 hours talking all about anal. So I'm going to put a link down in the description for that conversation. It was absolutely fantastic. If you have not yet listened to Sex Intersectional, you can find them on SoundCloud. It is a podcast about sex, hosted by sex educators, and one of them is a longtime friend of mine, Edna Lore, and she and I have years of history going way back, and I helped make her a puppet to illustrate butt sex. So that's why I got invited on the show to talk about anal. And anyways, if you want to listen to me talk for about an hour and 45 minutes about everything butt related, please go and visit the Sex Intersectional podcast. I'll put a link down in the description after this is done processing. But this is LGBT week, other than anal. What I'm going to be talking to you today about is something that happened politically this week. The administration in Washington in the Health and Human Services Division opened a new office of conscience and religious freedom. And these are code words to allow discrimination based on religious belief in the provision of healthcare. So there has been this long-running thing where religiously oriented healthcare providers, particularly Catholic hospitals, have regularly sought protections under religious freedom rules under the Constitution to be able to discriminate in the services that they provide. They do not want to provide abortion services. Obviously, that's one of those things that people of religious convictions, certain religious convictions, are opposed to. Nor do they want to provide sexual health information that's contrary to their religious philosophy. Nor do they want to do anything really that would countermand their religious beliefs. And so, so far in this country, we have had a general standing principle that people who come for health services should be able to receive those services from whomever their provider is. Obviously, certain things are medically not provided because they're not trained in how to do those certain things. But for the most part, you should be able to get full care regardless of who you are or what your background is. And this new division of HHS basically is saying, oh, you can go ahead and just treat whoever you want to treat. And if a trans person comes to your office and you don't want to provide them with hormone replacement therapy, or you don't want to counsel them about gender confirmation surgeries, then you don't have to do that. And that's a bunch of bullshit. And that leads to horrible problems in care. The thing is that this is not just the only time that this has happened. I mean, like, this has kind of been going on for a long time. There are documented cases of people who have died, trans people who have died, because their healthcare provider didn't diagnose them with something that they should have. I cannot remember the names of all of the people. I know Leslie Feinberg was one of them. But one prominent trans activist had ovarian cancer, and because the doctor who he was working with didn't want to talk about trans men having ovaries, he died of ovarian cancer. So, I mean, these are things that have real-world consequences of life and death for people. And frankly, I'm of the opinion that any individual's life is more important than any other individual's religious convictions. So we're bound to have a court fight about this. This is kind of par for the course for these conservative governments, and this is what happens when conservatives get elected. So please always remember to vote so that your rights are protected and that you have recourse from the government when things like this start to happen and it impacts your health care. So, for more information about the Conscience and Religious Freedom Office at the HHS, I'm going to put links down in the crotch. Please go down and educate yourself. Contact your members of Congress and tell them you think this is bullshit, if you believe that this is bullshit. And if you want to learn more about this channel or you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. And don't forget, go to Sex Intersectional on SoundCloud and look for my hour and 45-minute conversation about anal sex. I'll see you all next Friday, loves. Cheers.